Welcome to the famous ANZ Stadium, the Theatre of Dreams in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. Listen to the reception from this 35,000 strong crowd, the Canberra Raiders and the North Queensland Cowboys, barely containing their smiles. To our audience all around the world, welcome to the Simulation Rugby League Premiership Season 4 Grand Final. With me up in the commentary box tonight is Ollie Parche. And Ollie, this atmosphere is electric. Two teams yet to play in a game of this magnitude. What is going through their minds at the moment?
Well, I'm sure a lot of them are really thinking about how much they would love to lead their side to glory here. Of course, two players on each of these sides, Tim James and Eli Barnes of the Raiders, Chris Lord and Kobe Johnson of the Cowboys. First chance to be multi-time premiership winners with different clubs. Caval, third season as captain, will be the longest serving captain soon. Chris Lord in his second season as captain in his second grand final. Their instructions to the sides when I spoke to them before the match, just keep cool heads. Don't let themselves get sucked into this atmosphere too early. It's going to be an absolute firecracker. I can't wait. Let's get this party started.
As Rohan Caval gets the game underway, 80 minutes away from grand final, brand new. Two teams who have never tasted the silverware from the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. It's the Raiders with their hands on the ball first up. Nervous signs at the start, almost a mistake from the kickoff, but things have settled down now and they start to make their way to the near side of the field. It's the young rookie, John Boyamaiava, and he's been cornered and hustled across the line, and an early mistake from the young centre, and the Raiders will be on the back foot early here in Sydney.
Yeah, it was a good step there by Maivia as well. He just got by to Tara Maxwell, but Hodgson put in the starting role for this one. Just had help across and ends up just being able to force Maivia over the sideline. A beautiful play from the Cowboys. We saw it a few times in that preliminary final against Manly, and now a prime attacking opportunity for them.
It was Tyler Amatangi who really starred in that game last week against the Seagulls, and he just had a good run getting his hands on the ball early as we are close to the line. Amatangi goes to Cooper Gronk. He's met hard in a good front-on tackle. Looks like it was Jason Laumu. Wallace at dummy half finds his captain and Chris Lord. He will cross the line, but he will be held up by some strong Canberra Raiders defence. But the Cowboys, they are in a prime opposition to go up. First up early in this one here, Ollie.
Yeah, they just need to get a good play out of this one. Was good defense there by Barnes and Williams, who nearly got involved in that first mistake to just put Lord on his back, and now they'll look to run it here, interestingly.
Yeah, it's Moana. I think he didn't realise it was the final tackle. In fact, I thought it was the fourth, but referee Klein says tackle 5, so the Raiders will survive that early scare, and no doubt they will try and make their way up the centre of the park and get away from their red zoners. That's Jordan Williams. He's had his injury troubles over the past season, or the couple thereof, and he will be looking to make a big statement early in this grand final. It's Caval, takes it, the captain, juggles for a moment. Had his outside player, which was Laumu, who comes in and plays dummy half as Williams decides to kick the big lock forward, looking for an early 40-20. He's got a pretty good angle and he's nailed it. Jordan Williams finds the Raiders with a new set. 6 tackles inside the Cowboys' red zone. So a change of fortunes as they come near side. They find Eli Barnes, gets around the first tackle of Caval, taken down well by Chris Lord. James goes to Williams. Hard run by the big front rower. Wrapped up in a good tackle, only a metre short. Offside players to the left from the Cowboys. They come right through Luke Thompson. Close to the line, Luke Thompson. Referee Klein is saying held up over the line, but a close one there for the Raiders. Back to the 10 for the restart. As they keep going, Morrison tackle without the ball as Lewis palms off one, struggles to the line. He's taken down again. A metre short here, the Raiders. Final tackle. O'Neill onto the toe as his halves partner comes through. And Luke Thompson scores the opening try of the grand final.
That Jack O'Neill grubber, always so lethal, always so efficient. just found Thompson right through a gap there, just beautifully placed. Watch it here. It's a great little outlet pass as well. O'Neill finds it. Thompson, just make sure he steps back. Make sure he's behind the line and scoops it up beautifully. Thomas Wallace was trying to get onto that one, get to the ball, but the line he takes just allows Thompson through. I'm telling you, he's not able to get over there to cover defensively. And it's a first try of a match for Luke Thompson. A beautiful try to score as well, and a chance to convert his own kick from inside the hashes to make it 6-0.
Only just to the right of the uprights. Looking at that replay, Jack O'Neill was actually looking the other direction as he put that kick forward, and I think that's what fooled Thomas Wallace. Wrong-footed him for a moment, and that was all that Luke Thompson needed to get on the outside of marking Thomas Wallace. So it's the Raiders who go up early here at ANZ Stadium. 6 minutes on the clock have gone, up 6 points to 0. As both teams
master deception.
He's been doing it for the last couple of seasons though, Ollie. You know, we've been talking about Jack O'Neill close to the line and how dangerous he can be with those small grubber kicks. And we'll all remember when Luke Thompson scored 4 tries in a game back in season 2, 3 of those tries coming off the boot of Jack O'Neill. And those two really have formed one of the most formidable combinations in the SRL. Obviously, with Jack O'Neill moving to the Newcastle Knights for Season 5, this will be their final game together for now anyway. But they'll be looking to continue this here this evening as the Raiders look to make their way out of their own half. It's a good tackle, good set after that try as Kaval will play it on the final. They'll send it deep back to the pocket of O'Neill. It's been partially charged down. A couple of the Raiders players are calling for a tackle recount. Referee wants nothing to do with it, and the Cowboys will get the ball.
Yeah, I don't think there was any real play out there from the Cowboys attack, but basically just tried to run at O'Neill, just took a deflection off a leg, and I think it was smartly ruled not played at, and ends up benefiting the Cowboys quite a bit. They'll end up with a new set, and they've already made some good runs here. Stays to pace getting through incisively early on, and now they'll look down the wing.
Tatum Maxwell taken down around about 25 metres out. He'll get a good quick play the ball as well as Hodgson plays dummy half. It's Chris Lord with the ball, centre of the field. He's just Hail Mary to inside to, I think it was Stace to Pace, who was taken out without the ball. But the Cowboys survive, and they have their final tackle now as Mobiston plays it on the 10. Wallace decides to go short side. Moana on the toe, collected by Laumu, and he's got Streets in front of him, but he's taken down on the 30 from a good diving tackle from Bunty Kambolo.
Now, great tackle there by Kambolo. Really had to rush hard there, and I think with the Raiders, they probably prepared so well against that O'Neill grubber kick. They kind of expected it there from Moana as Laumu just played back and waited basically in the in-goal area to come and collect it with no real Cowboys threat close by. Just ends up collecting it and gets a good 30 metres and has set up this Raiders attack well.
Damien Moana, one of the most dangerous halves in the competition. Obviously, a former winger when he was playing at the Warriors, so he's no slouch and dangerous with ball in hand. So the Raiders kick on the final. It's picked up around the ankles by Maxwell, and he finds a bit of open space in front of him. He's taken him down eventually, but not before he crosses the halfway line, and the Raiders are on the back foot early in this set. 11-12 minutes gone here at ANZ Stadium in the Season 4 SRL Premiership Final. It's the Raiders who scored early. They try in the opening few minutes to go up 6 points to 0. It's the Cowboys who have looked strong in the last 5 or so as DePace will play it. Centre field options to the left and to the right. They choose to go to the right to the wing or the near side or far side of Cooper Gronk. His final game for the Cowboys tonight. Heading off to the Brisbane Broncos for Season 5 as Mobiston breaks through the middle. Had a massive game last week. Kaval puts it on the toe. I felt he probably could have gone himself, and he's put it too deep, and it goes over the back of the in goal.
I think the pressure really got to him there. I feel he felt like Luke Thompson was just angling up to try and bring him down by the shoulder, and so decided to jab the kick in and just kind of rushed it through there. And yeah, perhaps it would have been close to scoring, but the Cowboys really looked like they were making a meal out of it. But Robert Mobison made a great incisive run afterward, got the offload away. The Cowboys, even when they're making mistakes, it feels like they're able to create something out of it. Not something that a lot of teams the SRL have been able to do. So I feel like Lord has been able to instruct them well in that. Just find ways to create something, even if you don't feel like there's anything on.
Well, they definitely are coming off their most impressive game in the SRL, the Cowboys. Last week's win against the Manly Seagulls. A dominant display by not just Tyler Amatangi, who was lethal at the back, but we mentioned just quickly earlier on was Robbo Mobiston, one of the players of the game last week, was subbed at half-time. So it'll be interesting to see whether the captain, Chris Lord, will make that same change this week, as I felt like that could have been a sub that could have been left. But needless to say, Mobiston will play a big part in this evening's game. It's Kobe Johnston plays it on the 40, another big impact player for the Cowboys. Has had a rather quiet first half of the season, but is really growing into his own player over the last few weeks. Amatangi hunting on the inside, testing out that defence, that shoulder of Jordan Williams. The Cowboys will kick on the final. It's Moana who puts a nice towering kick coming down on the Raiders 20. No real pressure around Jason Lauman. He takes that one down safely.
I think that they were just thinking bomb, but definitely didn't get it deep enough. Probably just needed to try and target that wing a bit better there. And while I feel like that would just be something to learn from, at least you're getting the pin down. You're not allowing big kick returns, which we did see Maxwell break one off to create a big attacking opportunity early on. So have to make sure that they have those in the back pocket for later.
No real advantage for either team in regards to wind here this evening. It's been a rather calm week here in Sydney as a partially charged down kick lands in the lap of Te Rangiho Fe'u, and that will be the final tackle. No support players around him, taken down by Bunty Kimbolo and the Cowboys. Well, they will make their way out of their own half as Maxwell puts on the step and jinks through some Raiders defence. A couple of interchange players are up off their haunches holding interchange cards, so it'll be interesting to see when they make their way on the park. Looking down to the side of the field right now, looks like we have Callum Irwin and Casey Namana coming on for the Cowboys, and then Ben Arnold and Aaron Leonidas for the Raiders. So some big bodies about to make their way onto the park, and a few tired forwards out there as well. But it's Johnston with the ball. He's hitting a big tackle by Te Rangiho Fe'u, and Jordan Williams just comes over the top to finish him off. And he does not look too good after that one, Kobe Johnston.
Yeah, I think that's what basically saying, I know I'm coming off in a little bit, so let me just lay a shot on here and they won't be able to try and get me back for it.
It was a big shot on the big bopper, Kobe Johnston. And Jordan Williams, we mentioned earlier, has had his injury troubles over the past couple of seasons. And I guess once you get to a grand final, all of that sort of goes out the window and you just do all you can to win the battle or win the wrestle for your team. As Leonidas gets his first touch in the grand final, the young rookie finding himself in the big dance in his first season in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership, along with a few other players, and they will be looking to make an impact and be the player as quickly as possible. Moana gets the kick, not a deep kick from the Raiders, just outside the Cowboys 30. Well, they would have been hoping to get a little bit more depth on that kick. Still a few nerves in either side at the moment. Amatangi to play the ball on the half. He's looking for a quick play the ball, wrestles in the tackle. Moana goes to Namana, his first touch of the game, shrugs off one, eyes up Eli Barnes. Barnes up to the task on that one, but the Cowboys are on the front foot at the moment. Amatangi creeping on the inside, finding an extra couple of metres. Held down a little bit too long as Wallace goes back to Namana, and he drops the ball cold. And an error there from the Cowboys lets the Raiders off the hook.
Yeah, well, at least it happened on the last tackle, so you can see he completed the set. But again, it's a bodyguard play that they don't quite have dialed up again. They just try to have Namana there just to make sure that there's not much kick pressure, rather. And that time, just Wallace makes a mistake of throwing it into the man, and Namana will be charged with the error, though really that falls on Wallace to make sure he gets that pass right into the hands of Cavallo, Moana, whoever's kicking, just to make sure they get that one away. And they definitely had a chance to bomb it up as well. So definitely a chance going begging there, but there's an intercept.
Rohan Caval, who comes away with the ball, snatches it out of mid-air. And the Cowboys have the ball as they cross halfway. It's Namana, who again bumps off one. It was Eli Barnes who fell off the tackle. As we know how important it is in the Simulation Rugby League to have a fullback who makes a big impact in the game. It's Barnes versus Almatangi tonight. Almatangi's had a pretty good opening 25 minutes. Eli Barnes been relatively quiet by his standards. Namana again busy since coming onto the park. He'll play the ball on the 10. Final tackle, Moana. That's a better kick by the young 5'8". Put up high for himself. He's put it down, has he? He has. Damian Moana puts up the high torpedo punt. It fools Eli Barnes, but Moana, he knows how to take down his own kick. And the Cowboys, they strike back here to equal things up in the grand final.
Wow, well, that winger experience, he called upon it there. Damian Moana just puts up a kick and realizes that he's put enough hang time, but he doesn't need to worry about any offside players. Just go up himself and go get it. Barnes looked like he timed his jump pretty well there, but Moana, knowing how it came off a boot, did it perfectly. And after his conversion from Kavar, which he has put through, North Queensland have found a way to tie this game up.
I was just saying, I was comparing Almatangi and Barnes, and I felt like Almatangi's had a pretty good opening quarter to start the game, but Eli Barnes hasn't really injected himself into that Raiders back line as much as we would have possibly expected, or as much as the Raiders fans would have hoped. And I wonder whether that comes down to a little bit of nerves. Obviously hasn't been in a grand final since season 1 when the Parramatta Eels beat the Auckland Warriors 19 points to 18 in Golden Point. It's still plenty of time to go in this one. Damian Moana scores to bring the Cowboys level. Conversion by Rohan Caval. And we are locked up once again as a mistake from the Cowboys. Looks like one of their players was possibly taken out without the ball. Again, referees allowing it to go. It's a grand final. Things are a little bit lackluster as Bell makes his way through the middle. Finds Thompson on the inside. Luke Thompson one-on-one. He will not be stopped. And the Raiders, they may have struck back straight away. And Thompson could be in for a second.
Wow, what a great play there. Corey Bell just darted off to his outside, made sure that nothing could really stop him aside from one man, then got it back infield. Luke Thompson just having a fight again, and it's a signature move of the Cowboys halves of the Raiders half has pulled off. That little duck under had really showed a lot of strength there to get to the line in the first place, and well, Luke Thompson, double in a grand final. What a wave of a half to start things out, but this will be a difficult kick for him from the numbers. See if he can nail this.
15 metres in from the near touchline. As Thompson strikes it. A little bit of wind behind the Raiders in this first half. He tries to bring it around, but it goes around the left-hand upright. The score remains 10 points to 6. Corey Bell setting up that try with that elusive run down the near touchline and getting away from, I think it was John... No, not John Boy Marva. I think it was Bunty Kimbolo and Almatangi who came down on him. Getting the ball on the inside to Luke Thompson. He couldn't be stopped. He's a strong 5'8", one of the strongest in the league. And the Raiders, well, they strike back after the Cowboys scored their first through Moana. And they take the lead back out 10 points to 6, coming up 30 minutes gone the first half.
This is going to be a very difficult one, no matter which side you're on at this point. Even half an hour through, it's felt like it's been fairly evenly matched, though. Admittedly, Canberra have been able to make the most of their chances when they've been given them. I mean, Luke Thompson and Jack O'Neill, we talked about them earlier in the broadcast. The halves combination, so lethal, and have proven it with their one try assist for O'Neill and the two tries for Thompson. They'll need to create more through them, and the Cowboys, I think, need to find a matching way to do that. Kaval, I don't think, has been creating too much. I want to put a spotlight on him, see what he can create with his kicks.
I think if there's any area where the Raiders are possibly struggling at the moment, we talked about Eli Barnes earlier on, but I don't feel like Thompson and O'Neill are really getting the kicks away on the final tackle. That's the third or the fourth time so far where the Raiders haven't been able to put a deep kick down into Cowboys territory and test out the shoulders of especially Bunty Kimbolo, who during the week obviously pulled up lame at one of their trainings. Rumours were swirling that he possibly could have started from the bench, but he has made his way to the park as Bell makes another big burst, cuts away from one. Cowboys chasing. Bell will be too fast and he will go under the post. And for the past 5 minutes, Corey Bell has made two massive statements.
Well, we talked before. How much can the Cowboys shut down a winger? They haven't been able to do it with Bell this time. Bell able to be activated, got past one tackle and made Matangi just flail at thin air. And Corey Bell has been quietly underrated, I feel like, on this Canberra side. Such a great impactful winger. Of course, this will be his final game in the Green Machine jersey for now, so definitely wants to try and cap this one with a high note, and I think he has there. He's got his grand final moment, and he'll put it for Raiders up 16-6 thanks to the kick of Luke Thompson.
We saw it in the game earlier on tonight, the World All-Stars versus the Kangaroo All-Stars. We know how dangerous an attacking winger is, and Nahana Borton-Thompson showed absolute class earlier in the evening, and Corey Bell has replicated that just now. It's, like I said, the last 5 minutes or so, he has had two massive hands in getting the Raiders out to a 10-point lead, 16 points to 6, with a little under 7 minutes until half-time. A couple of these big forwards can't wait until that half-time oranges spell as Tu'ua charges it forward. He's continuously getting that little inside ball from Jack O'Neill as he tries to find a little bit of space inside that Cowboys defence. Kavar will play it. They go to O'Neill once again. Again, it's Leonidas this time, cutting back on the inside. Jack O'Neill is definitely trying to find a possible weakness again. This time it's Tu'ua back on the inside. A great little no-look pass there by O'Neill, and the Raiders on the final tackle, about 35 out. O'Neill will kick. He's had a big hand in the set, down to the wing of Kimbolo, and a good chase from the Raiders. Trap him only around about 12 or 13 metres out.
That's what Jason Lawman needed to do there, or Lamy rather. Just get to the kick chase and make sure that they can't really spring anything, because that's what the Cowboys have been able to do previously. That time they went to Cambola. They got it from Maxwell last week against Manly. And they just knew that once they kick to the wing, they can't let them spring anything out. And that's what he did there. Just made sure that he got to that tackle, put the shoulder in, could do nothing with it. And it looks like the Raiders defense is holding very firm here, not letting the Cowboys get much ground.
Well, they know how dangerous Bunty Kimbolo can be, as Hodgson sends the ball close to the sideline. It's a 40-20, waiting. The referee's gone to the video ref. He's going to make the call, is he? He's going to look at a replay as he was just outside the 40. So a close call there by the Cowboys. That could have been a possible game changer with only around about 5 or 4 minutes remaining.
Yeah, that was interesting there. I did like the play from Hodgson. He just took one too many steps there to put the kick in, so perhaps it's a bit of a missed time in the run-up. And it's something that I probably would have seen from the Raiders here, just to try and get to the end of the half from this set, just putting the kick in deep to where no one can get it and trying to just waste as much clock as they can to prevent the Cowboys from scoring. But instead, it's for North Queensland. They decided to try and run it and didn't really pay off for them, unfortunately.
So they play the ball here as Thompson kicks early again, not able to get much distance on that one. Matangi standing in the right spot on the 40, and he crosses into the Raiders half. So 2.5 minutes remaining. Can the Cowboys strike back before half-time? They've got a big numbers to the right, but again, it's the Raiders' defence that have really been rushing up on these Cowboys players. Caval has had only an average amount of time as we see a penalty, a first of the game. The Raiders holding down too long on the tackle, and the Cowboys, with a little under 2 minutes remaining, will have a big opportunity from only around about 18 metres out.
Yeah, that's just ill-discipline there from the Raiders. They probably didn't need to give that one away, especially since they probably would have had a chance at one more set if they were able to get through that previous one, but now they likely won't have another sniff of the ball and have to hold out here on their own goal line, already on tackle 2.
Moana just under the goalpost, taken down, picked up by Thompson. Again, a big shot put on one of the Cowboys players. I'm not sure if we are going to get a replay of that. Who was it, Ollie?
Hodgson had the shot put on him, and it was Taranga Naufeu, of all people, just deciding to come back on after having his off the bench in and lays another shot down. Made an absolute impact here in this first half.
That is a big moment, a significant moment in the grand final, as the siren will sound in the background. Half-time here at ANZ Stadium. It's the Raiders in front at half-time. Welcome back to ANZ Stadium, wherever you are around the world, joining us for this live broadcast of the Season 4 Simulation Rugby League Premiership, live on SRL TV. It's the Raiders going into the sheds ahead at half-time as they get the second half underway. 40 minutes away until we crown a brand new champion in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. The Raiders are up at the moment. Standout first halves to Corey Bell, Rahul Kaval and Taranga Fe'u. While for the Cowboys, Casey Namana, Robbo Mobiston, Damien Moana, all putting their hands up. So we are set for a big second half. Ollie, you were down with the teams at half-time. You quickly poked your head inside each changing room. What was the main message that you felt was given?
Well, when I just had a look in, it seemed like Chris Law was being more just trying to be level-headed, just saying, let's not try and dwell on our mistakes. Sure, we might be down on the scoreboard, but we just got to go back to what we've done to defeat Manly and defeat the Auckland Warriors. And from there, we can kind of just move through and get on with the match. On the other side, Tim James was a speaker for the Raiders, given that they had decided to sub their captain, Rahul Kaval. He basically just said, we just got to keep this momentum flowing. 40 minutes to make history. Let's try and keep this one in the books.
That's the Raiders on the Cowboys 20. Final tackle, first opportunity of the second half to really attack the Cowboys line as the kick goes up, but it's not a great kick. In fact, Columbus comes down with it on the 20. It was more of a cross-field bomb, as you could say. And the Raiders won't be happy with how that one turned out. A couple of changes at half-time. The Cowboys with Callum Irwin on for Robbo Mobiston, Casey Namana for Stace DePace. Johnny Columbus has come on for Cameron Hodgson, and Kieran Wells comes on for his partner in crime, Thomas Wallace. The Cowboys making their way up the park with ease during this set. Kimbolo, the big fella, playing dummy half, and they go into field to Casey Namana. Hands on the ball, had a massive 30-minute period in that opening half as Moana puts the kick in, picked up by Laumu, but he just loses control and he falls over the sideline. He just fell over himself, possibly untied shoelace, it looked like, and Laumu will give the pill to the Cowboys with a 10-metre restart.
Yeah, perhaps they just put a bit of magic spray down there because it just looked like Laumu tried to go in a bit too hard there, just ended up slipping through over the sideline there, and it's giving the Cowboys basically a repeat set here right on the 10-metre line. A play that probably shouldn't have worked out for them in the first place has ended up benefiting them greatly. Would now have a chance to mount a goal line stand. And if they want to do anything here, just got to avoid a big shot here because I reckon Aaron Leonidas is lining someone up.
As Wells continues to bark to his team, but it's Kimbolo who grabs it on the edge of a great pass on the near touchline. He crosses untouched, and the Cowboys, they will open the scoring in the second half.
Well, that was what they decided to do. They saw Leonidas just basically camping under the post and decided, all right, let's go away from that. And some beautiful passing there. Tyler Almer's hanging, just barely getting that ball out of the hands just to find an open Cambolo who was basically left unmarked in that numbers situation. But a difficult kick here. It's a huge play for North Queensland at least because they can at least make this a one-possession game with this kick by Caval.
Looks good. It's coming around. It's coming around a little bit too much. The score remains 16 points to 10, unconverted try, but it was Jacob Morrison who was caught out defensively in that play. Columbus initially cutting back on the inside, but when he saw Amatangi get the ball, he signalled a long ball, and Columbus just dotted back towards the sideline, and Morrison couldn't get back in time, and he was caught flat-footed. And Columbus, unmarked, goes in for his third try of the season. And, well, it is game on here at ANZ Stadium. Cowboys cross to open the scoring in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. And you were just talking, Ollie, about your the words that you heard coming out of that Cowboys dressing room. And Chris Lord, he will be immensely satisfied with the opening to the second half.
Yeah, though I do think that perhaps he just wants to think about perhaps they want to play more in field with this next one because it seemed like they were just able to move up the field very well against the sword pack. That's where I feel like the Cowboys have been winning out, just able to get more meters in attack, and especially with the new players on, with Namana getting his full stint on, he might be able to really put in some penetrating runs as here he goes again. Got a good pass away to Gronk as well, but that's one swallowed up. It's definitely been where they've been able to win the game, or the battle rather, because they aren't winning the game right now because, of course, Corey Bell has been able to snap it through. And that's where I feel like the Raiders have been strongest, is in those wing backs. With how Corey Bell and how Jacob Morrison has been, but Morrison's been relatively quiet.
As Moana, it's this time, puts a little bit too much power on the end of that one. Caval in the first half did the same. And Moana, just with players rushing up on him, wasn't able to time that one well at all. But the Cowboys looking dangerous at the moment. Raiders definitely look a little bit shell-shocked coming out of the sheds. Ben Arnold has come on for Jordan Lewis. And as you mentioned earlier, Ollie, Aaron Leonidas has made his way onto the park. He's come on for Tarangaho Fe'u. Meanwhile, Wally Allen has come on for the captain, Rahul Kaval. I'm assuming Tim James has taken over the captaincy there. And then Sione Mataus has come on at number 13 for Jordan Williams. I'm not sure if that was an injury force change or whether it was a planned change before the game started. But hopefully we see more of Jordan Williams later on this evening. Mataus with the ball now, centre field around about 18 metres out from the line. It's the Raiders final tackle of the set. They send it back to Leonidas. He's a hard runner, hard to stop. Probably not the player you wanted to have his hands on the ball on the final tackle, and he has been wrapped up, and the Cowboys will get the pill.
Yeah, I think you mentioned earlier about Mataus. I will just say it does seem like that's what we decided to go with. He is usually the off-the-bench lock forward that comes on for Jordan Williams, so definitely just sticking to their guns there on that regard. But as for the rest of their team, they just looked like they had Jacob Morrison finally being able to be activated again, and that got them deep down the park, though they just weren't able to capitalize off of it.
If that is the case about Jordan Williams going off for a possible injury for John Boy Maiava, it's a sad news for Jordan Williams. Is possibly his last game for the Canberra Raiders. Hasn't been picked up by an SRL team so far and is currently sitting in free agency. So if that's the case, that could be the last we see of Jordan Williams in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership.
Yeah, that'll be an absolutely sad sight. Williams, just a veteran of the game, and I mean, he would absolutely love to finish it off with a ring. And it is a good storyline as Johnson makes an intercept on an Arnold offload, and he'll just have to watch this on from the bench though, because I mean, I doubt he comes on again.
Plagued with injuries throughout his career, joined the Simulation Rugby League back in Season 1, just after the first couple of rounds had launched, and has really been a stalwart. Started off with the Cowboys, went to the Panthers, spent a season at the Rabbitohs, but really has found his place here at the Canberra Raiders this season. And that could possibly be the end of Jordan Williams' career. We'll have to wait and see. Never say never, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's an early retirement forced due to injuries. As Moana puts that one high, it's a better kick by the number 158 in North Queensland. Morrison takes it down. No real pressure coming from the Cowboys chasers, though.
Yeah, I think that time, because they were just so deep, they just tried to send that usual goal line pin. Because last time we saw the crossfield bomb, they were able to get pressure on, but weren't able to mark them. We just said, all right, let's just try and get in some hang time. Maybe we end up making a meal of it, but Morrison did well under that high ball to get it and safely into the hands. So no big deal there, but there's a shot there, and it looks like the Cowboys have decided to wake up and lay on some impact shots, and they win themselves a penalty for it.
Eli Barnes hitting a big tackle, trying that little inside pass from O'Neill once again. Barnes didn't time his run perfectly, and he was put with a big shot, a big shoulder from, I think it was Casey Namana, and the Cowboys get another good settler around about 18 metres out, and they will have a big opportunity to possibly draw level here at ANZ Stadium. The Simulation Rugby League Grand Final, the last game of the season. The Cowboys with a big opportunity at the moment. Johnston, rushing defence from the Raiders. They take him down around about 8 metres out. A big short side for the Cowboys. They go out to Maxwell, and Maxwell beats the first defender. And Tatata Maxwell gets the second try in the second half for the Cowboys. Game on here in Sydney.
Another short side raid executed to perfection. It ends with a winger. That time he didn't even look like he had the numbers, and yet it didn't seem like they knew who to send after to Tara Maxwell, and he just went right through the gap and opened up between John Boy Maivia and Corey Bell. And he was just basically through untouched, and a huge play for them to get right back into this game. About 22 and 3/4 minutes left to play, but Caval's kick won't make it. So the Raiders will still hold the lead.
A big miss there for Caval. Still plenty of time remaining here in this one, but the two misses for Rohan Caval in this half would have had the Cowboys out in front for the first time tonight. But Corey Bell and John Boy Maiava were the ones who were caught out there. Or, sorry, it could have been Mataus, it was John Boy Maiava and Corey Bell who were caught out defensively for the Raiders in that one. I think Corey Bell was looking for the long ball, and Maiava was keeping an eye on Chris Lord. So the Cowboys on the front foot at the moment. You have to say Casey Namana is leading the way for that Townsville side. Moana to Caval, finds Matangi, steps around the tackle of Laumu. That's a good bit of run from the Cowboys, number 1. Trying to make a little bit of an impact. Confidence is coming here for the Cowboys. Columbus this time fends off one, tries to get the hands free, wrestles in the tackle. In fact, the Raiders, they have given away another penalty here, Ollie. 3 penalties to none, 2 inside their own half, and pressure starting to mount on Canberra.
Absolute coach killer there. Ben Arnold really should not have needed a hold down like that on Johnny Columbus with a final tackle looming. It just felt like such a rookie mistake there from Arnold, and it's allowed North Queensland right back into this game, especially considering that they could absolutely take a lead. They didn't decide to go for 2. And there goes Wells! Wells has scored! But what a try to get! And North Queensland, just as I say that on the hour mark, have hit the front.
The angry interchange, Kieran Wells, he has been barking at his side the whole game. Spots a gap, lazy marking from Tim James, and the little Cowboys hooker comes over, scores his 2nd try of the season, and the Cowboys, well, they hit the front for the first time, and this is an absolute coach killer for the Raiders. 2 penalties in the last 5 minutes inside their own half, and the Cowboys 3 tries to none in the second half.
We often talk before about how North Queensland can start hot and just kind of fade at the end, but this time it feels like it's a bit of reversal of fortune. They've been the ones that have been on fuego at the start of this second half. They've been absolutely unstoppable through their forward pack, it feels like. And as such, Kieran Wells, I'm not sure how he ended up just finding that gap through the marker. It's such a difficult thing to do at a goal line stand, but ends up just snaking through and basically had no one trying to challenge him and has put the Cowboys right on top with 20 minutes left.
Well, that was Tim James who made the tackle, wasn't able to get onside in time and was just caught out in an offside position. Kieran Wells taking advantage of a quick play the ball. And, well, the Cowboys, they are in hot pursuit at the moment. Maxwell takes that one. Gronk at half, at dummy half. Hodgson find on the inside. He's had a busy second half, Cameron Hodgson, since coming on to the park. In fact, he's come back on at prop. Cameron Hodgson. Moana kicks. It's a deep kick by the Cowboys 5'8", and it's a good chase as well. And they trap Eli Barnes inside the Raiders 20. So he has been well contained so far tonight. Eli Barnes.
Yeah, it's been very difficult for them to get going. You know, Barnes has not been able to get the same break that Matangi has, but I feel like both fullbacks have been kept in relative check to what they're usually able to produce, especially in this final series. Just need to find one more for Barnes here. If he just gets one run, I feel like we can absolutely set the tone for the Raiders and get them right back into this match.
Well, the Raiders, they rely on him so much. You know, he's not the only player in their side that can ignite something. It's just not, it's not expected that he would have such a quiet game. And, the Raiders have just gone off the ball since half time. And, they need someone to just spark something.
Yeah, and, well, if they can't find it through Barnes, I think they just got to find it through their halves connection. O'Neill and Thompson to be able to create so well in the pass. If they get them on a break as well, O'Neill is known for being able to launch breaks as well, given his experience at the fullback role. But they might also have an opportunity here after a bit of a knock-on there from Chris Lord on look like another miscommunication offensively.
Yeah, big error for the Cowboys, not really expecting to receive that one, and opens the door here for the Raiders. Around about 30 metres out, down to about 15 now. It's Wally Allen driving the legs forward. Quick play the ball as Tim James looked to almost run that one from dummy half. Gets the call from O'Neill to go right, and they find Barnes. They're not really making too much metres at the moment. The Raiders, as one of the Cowboys players rushes up and misses the tackle, slams his hands on the ground out of frustration. Get back, son. Get back to the defensive line as Barnes goes for the line. He reckons he's got it down. We were just talking about Eli Barnes needing to inject himself, And 5 minutes later, it's exactly what he does. The Raiders respond, tackled over the line. Couple of Cowboys players complaining about a possible knock-on, but the try is in the books, and the Raiders are equal with the kick to come.
Well, I said Eli Barnes needed to be the spark, and they got him. He was option A, and they got him working beautifully there. Just sent through, got a good diagonal run going there, and Caval could do nothing to stop him. Here's the kick from Thompson. This one to put them in front, and has hit it beautifully. The Raiders will lead by 2, 5/6 of the way through this game. This final fraction will be an absolute one to watch. Don't touch anything right now. Just, in fact, stay levitating, because this one will have you off of your seat.
Final couple of interchanges have just been made during the short break that we've had. Welcome back to this live coverage of the Simulation Rugby League Premiership Season 4 Grand Final. The Raiders coming into this one after upsetting the Manly Seagulls in semi-final number 2, breaking that 20-game win streak that the Seagulls had that lasted 52 weeks, while the Cowboys beat the Warriors in the semi-final number 1, and then totally outclassed the Manly Seagulls in the preliminary final last week. Both sides, their first dance in a grand final. Raiders have made a mistake from the set after the try, and the Cowboys have an opportunity to kick back here. So it's Caval, 5 metres out. The Cowboys hunting the Raiders line. The pace shot to Thomas Wallace. Charges onto a great ball from the big front rower, and the referee points to the spot, and the Cowboys go back in front here in ANZ Stadium.
What an absolutely beautiful play there. It started with Johnny Columbus making a perfect interception. And again, it's just Wallace who just found through right in the center of the park. They just played too fast and loose. Those Raiders forwards looked like Tim James caught out yet again. And Thomas Wallace had just come off the bench. It only probably had about 2 minutes on until that moment, and ends up just running through right under the post. Caval should make no mistake of this. The Cowboys will be up for 11 minutes to play. Oh, they must be absolutely overjoyed, but they can't stay off that gas pedal. You have to try and absolutely gut the Raiders right now. If you can get another score, you can probably ice it here, but you cannot let the Raiders get down the field. We know how dangerous they can be, given very few seconds left on the clock. We saw it happen against Auckland. They can likely do it again here, and that's what they'll look to do here. With time ticking down, they need to find one more score, or else all of this that they've worked for, that incredible season with only the one blemish against it, that regular season defeat against Manly, which they then topped by winning in that qualifying final. They need to find something more here. Anything they can in this last 10 minutes.
70 minutes, clock's over. 10 minutes remaining in the Simulation Rugby League's 4th season. If you haven't yet joined the SRL's Discord, head to the link. It's in the description of this broadcast. Come to the Discord, create the player and be the player. Season 5 set to launch early in the new year. Still many teams needing players, especially with the Newcastle Knights being added as the 9th team. The first time the SRL has had 9 teams in it. It's the Raiders searching for points here with around about 8.5 minutes to go. It's Cowboys out in front, 26 points to 22. A comeback has been on the cards here for a while now as the Cowboys take down Eli Barnes. He's had a big last 10 minutes or so. Barnes looking to ignite and bring this Raiders pack back into formality as James at dummy half. Lewis, a long ball out to Jack O'Neill. Takes 2 to take him down. In fact, it's Namana who throws him to the ground. Final tackle now. Pressure coming through. Barnes! Eli Barnes grabs a Dougal. A great kick from, I think it was Luke Thompson. And again, referee points to the ground. This game continues to seesaw, and the Raiders have a kick to put themselves back out in front.
Again, it's the dangerous grubber kick. Luke Thompson, they try to rush up on him. They rush too hard for him. He gets into position beautifully here. Eli Barnes as well, just off the outside shoulder of Leonidas. Cooper Grock not used to defending in that spot. Cameron Hodgson, rather. Not used to defending in that center forward position, and as such ends up slipping up.
Yeah.
And it ends up being Eli Barnes that ends up running on to get himself his second try. We see it so often, and it's a signature play. But if they can hold on in these last 7, will be an absolute feather in the cap as Luke Thompson gives them the lead.
He has had a masterclass so far tonight, Luke Thompson. Hasn't missed a kick so far. Sorry, has missed 1 kick so far. 2 tries in that first half. Eli Barnes has come alive in the last quarter of this game. But still 7 minutes remaining. The Cowboys will be confident that they know exactly what they need to do to win this game. They'll be looking to force an error on this set. We know how hard it is for the teams to get through their first sets after scoring a try. Cowboys defence will probably try and rush up on players like Eli Barnes, possibly Leonidas, who will be looking for a run at some stage as they go to Arnold this time. He's taken down on the Raiders 40, and they're doing well at the moment to just that one-off passing. It's Mayava this time, taken down on the halfway line as time continues to tick down. 5.5 minutes remaining to Ua this time. He's taken down the good tackle. Cowboys looking for the one-on-one strip, not committing too many players at the ruck. It's a possible knock-on. Referee says it goes backwards, but Lewis, he is caught on the final tackle, and the Cowboys will restart from shallow in their own half.
Yeah, it just looked like it bounced off a peck of Leonidas there and just basically went laterally to Jordan Lewis to agree with a call there. No knock-on really to be given, even if, you consider the play that it's still likely gone backwards. So now it's just going to be North Queensland. Need to find something from this forward pack or even just spring it back somewhere to get them through and get them into an attacking opportunity, because any kick can easily result in 4 or even 6.
Yamatangi has to step up the last 4.5 minutes. 25 metres out, still 2 tackles remaining. A big run here required as the pace just charges into the Canberra defence. Both sides playing the games of their life at the moment. Moana, this is a big kick, a momentum kick as it comes down for Jacob Morrison. He takes it well under pressure. Cowboys players all around him, and the young centre 3/4 come winger takes that one down, and the Raiders survive. The Cowboys, possibly 1 set remaining.
And I just need to get one here. Any mistake here by the Raiders absolutely springs the Cowboys to life. For Aaron Leonidas, beautiful run, breaking 2 tackles, got right through there. He'll be an absolute danger man for these next couple of runs. They need to rely on him a bit more here. Just get it down the field. Look for that early kick that you saw, that pseudo 40-20 attempt from Cam Hodgson. They're not looking for it here, though. They probably just want to get as much time of the clock as they can. Don't let them get a good kick away here. And also don't let the return go. Come on, don't let it go.
Coming down to Maxwell. He's had a big game so far. To Taylor Maxwell. He's had a very good game. He's away to Taylor Maxwell to win the game for the Cowboys. Has won it under the posts. Unbelievable. With 1.5 minutes remaining to Taylor Maxwell. Possibly to give the Cowboys their first ever SRL Premiership.
What an absolute call, Logan. You absolutely said it. You had to watch the kick return, and it's Mayava again. He ended up getting beat before, which ended up being able to spring another kick return. They've let it happen once more, and again, it's the Taylor Maxwell. He showed so much promise in the final series. It's been an absolute one to remember. And now, with time ticking down, they might just be able to run it out to the Canberra Raiders. Don't be surprised to see a big shot put on here. This last minute could be absolutely critical. Don't turn away now if you're a Canberra fan. There's still a game to play.
Yep, 1 minute remaining. They will be looking to force a mistake, whether it's a shoulder charge, player taken out without the ball. We've seen it happen multiple occasions in this evening's broadcast, and the referees are allowing that sort of stuff to happen. So a big final minute for the Raiders. They'll possibly only get 2, possibly 3 tackles to play with. The Cowboys out in front at the moment as Kobe Johnson just chucks it under the wing. He is not going to give away the uphill, plays the ball, Gronk, goes to Moana. He gives a long ball out to the pace, who charges through a big hole as the Raiders defence charged up on the wrong man, up on the halfway line. Final play here for the Cowboys. Hodgson hitting a big tackle. That'll be it. The North Queensland Cowboys win the Simulation Rugby League Premiership for the first time after coming from behind, beating the Manly Seagulls last week. They break the hearts of the Canberra Raiders, and they are your new SRL Premiership champions.
It's an absolute fairy tale. Chris Lord built this team from nothing, and he gets to celebrate with a title. Go enjoy it, son.
He was taken or brought in as the captain at the start of season 3. There was questions raised about why Chris Lord was to be the captain after he hadn't played for the Cowboys. He recruited players that weren't necessarily targeted by other teams, and what he has done to this North Queensland side and what he has done for the fans from Townsville is absolutely amazing. The Cowboys, they win this one at the death. Taylor Maxwell scores the match-winning try, 32 points to 28. Eli Barnes, 2 tries in the second half. Luke Thompson, 2 tries in the first half. Corey Bell had an absolutely superb game on the right wing for the Raiders, but it was the Cowboys too strong at the end after the game seesawed for much of the second half. And Ollie, what a story, what a season, what a grand final.
I couldn't have asked for anything more from this match, honestly. Just what an incredible game. Taylor Maxwell had 192 meters in his double. He didn't get many runs, but man, when he could break them off, he had absolutely lethal pace, and we saw Ave just outran Eli Barnes, got him to miss for tackle. Had Eli Barnes made it, it would have been an absolute game saver for them, I reckon. I don't think the Cowboys would have come back to score that one, even with time left. That would absolutely haunt him for the rest of his career. Even if he's able to wash it out with several more seasons, that will absolutely sting for him, especially given how hard he had to work. He didn't miss a tackle. He put up 147 running meters. He had a double of his own, getting onto grubber kicks, putting it down on a beautiful diagonal run. I can't fault the man too much for what he did, but it's still going to absolutely torment him. It's going to torment all of Canberra, all the players that had to work so hard to try and get to this match in the first place and just fall just short, agonizingly short. They were 2 minutes. They were probably 5 tackles away from winning it, and yet it ended up just falling away from them with one final run.
Focusing on the Cowboys, our champions for Season 4 in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership, their first ever SRL final appearance, and they take the jelly beans here tonight. Taylor Maxwell will be the king of Townsville tonight, wins the game for the Cowboys. Thanks for joining me, Ollie. It's been a pleasure calling this one with you. That is the end of the Simulation Rugby League Premiership for Season 4. It's been an amazing season. Lachlan Martin, the commissioner, has put on an absolute product for us to be entertained on Tuesday, Wednesday nights. And yeah, Ollie, looking forward to seeing you and being alongside you in the commentary box for Season 5. No dates released yet, but yeah, I'll leave the final word to you, Ollie.
It has been an absolute pleasure to not only be brought into the commentary box this season, but to get to experience everything from up here. Every single player that I have witnessed on this field has put on an absolute show, especially here tonight. The Raiders, hold your heads high. You've got everything to be proud of. The Cowboys, go enjoy tonight. You got to come back here and do it all again. 9 teams coming in. So many players in development that are ready to come out here for next season. I absolutely cannot wait for it. For everyone here on the SRL staff, Jack O'Neill, Lachlan Martin, Logan Strange, and myself, Ollie Parche. We'll see you next season. Have a good one.